Rest in peace, Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't mean rest in peace. Nobody died, so let's not anybody. No one jumped the gun here. Nobody died. Well, nobody died, but the Houston Texans season certainly just went belly up. What's going on, Hawk fans? This is Rob English, your Socal Seahawk, and thank you for joining me on another edition of Short Yardage. And if you haven't heard, then yes, Deshaun Watson, the rookie phenom quarterback of the Houston Texans, tore his ACL in practice. I believe it was on Wednesday. Unbelievable. We all saw Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson go punch for punch on Sunday in that exciting game that ended up with our Seahawks winning with a touchdown late to Jimmy Graham from Russell Wilson. But what a game that was. What an amazing show from a young kid who just was, finally got his shot and was showing that he has what it takes to be great in this league. Just to have him go down with a season-ending injury in practice. Oh, you know where I'm going with this, right? Practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Practice? We talking about practice. Not a game. Not throwing touchdown passes and only 4 interceptions. We talking about practice. Real quick before we go on, let me go ahead and do the quick shout out. Go ahead and check us out on Seattle Sports Union. That's Seattle Sports Union, www.seattlesportsunion.com on the web. Facebook at Seattle Sports Union, Twitter at Seattle Sports U. Check us out, all things Seattle sports. If you like Seattle sports, then you need to check out Seattle Sports Union. But yeah, a very, very sad day for football. I think it's really unfortunate when, you see these young players, you see a young kid, Deshaun Watson, he's a good kid. He's young, he's smart, he's all the things that you want, to see in a young up and comer. And he just, torn ACL, done. Just done, just like that. Very unfortunate. I wish him all the best. But that's not my problem. My problem is these Seattle Seahawks. They're my issue. The Seattle Seahawks, speaking on that game, what a game. There was nearly 1,000 yards of offense in that game. Talk about a shootout. One thing I will say is the Seahawks definitely have a knack for playing up or down to their opponents. If the game is a low scoring game by our opponents, then it's a low scoring game by the Seahawks, and vice versa. The opponent scores 35, 40 points. We score 35, 40 points. I wish we could change that tendency to just put up points whenever we feel like it and not have to play up or down to our opponent. But, it doesn't seem to be the case. But what a game it was. I had predicted, prior to the game that it was going to be, an exhibition in us, in the Seahawks defense, just taking away the running game, or doing our best to take away the running game, and putting the game on Deshaun Watson's shoulders and seeing if he can beat us. And I went on to say that it was very unlikely that he will be able to do that. Young quarterback, although he's good, it's unlikely he'd be able to go and carve up the LOB, right? The LOB? Rookie? But that's exactly what he did. Seattle, for the most part, took away the run, with the exception of, their team totals were above 100 yards, but you got to factor in that Deshaun Watson was able to scramble out and run for a couple of big gains himself, so that kind of skews the number. But ultimately, the run game was handled by the Seattle defense. We put the game on the shoulders of Deshaun Watson, and he carved us up. I likened it to a father and son just tossing around the pigskin on Thanksgiving afternoon before dinner. He was just throwing that ball effortlessly, it seemed at times. Now, he did throw 3 picks. One of the picks was, you could throw that one away because it was the last ditch effort at the end of the game. But he did throw 2 costly picks. One of them was returned for a pick 6 by Earl Thomas. We'll get back to Earl Thomas in a moment. But still, 400 yards, 400 plus yards against the LOB. The last team to do that was, I think that was, Big Ben Roethlisberger, last year, I believe. Last year or the year before. I think it was last year. Roethlisberger tore us up, but we won that game as well. It's amazing how when we go up against quarterbacks who put up big points, we find a way to put up just as many points and then win the game. It's actually kind of neat if you think about it. We should just let every team score 40 on us because we'll go ahead and find a way to beat them anyway. But as exciting as the game was, as amazing as it was to see Russell Wilson and our offense produce in the fashion that they did, it also shined a very, very bright light on our inadequacies. And obviously, I'm talking about the running game. This was an all-time low in the running game. I don't know this to be a fact, but I have to imagine that the running totals for the Seahawks on Sunday against Houston have to be all-time lows. Maybe not record lows, but easily all-time lows. And you got to look past the team total. There was a total of 33 rushing yards by the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. 33. I'm sure that's not unheard of. I'm sure that's happened before. But when you factor in the reality that 30 of those yards came on 4 Russell Wilson scrambles, that leaves you with a total of 3 yards by Seattle running backs. Those running backs being Thomas Rawls, J.D. McKissick, Eddie Lacy, and one by Tyler Lockett. So that's 4 quote-unquote running back runs for 3 yards. By my investigation, that there was a total of 17 attempts for 3 yards between 4 running backs. The math works out to be 0.17 yards per carry by Seattle running backs. That is 6 inches. Seattle running backs on 17 carries averaged 6 inches per carry against the Houston Texans, against Jadeveon Clowney, because he was the one disrupting everything. 6 inches a carry. If that's not alarming, then your alarm doesn't work. Plain and simple. I don't care how many yards Russell goes out there and throws for. You cannot be that completely one-dimensional and expect to go places in this league. There's a lot of people riding really high on Seattle right now because of the way we were able to win that game. But I'm like, calm down. We are nowhere near ready. We're nowhere near ready to take on the better teams. We're not ready to take on Philly. We're not ready to take on Dallas. We're not ready to take on New England. If we got to the Super Bowl, we're not ready to take on Pittsburgh. Are we even ready to take on Atlanta? And Atlanta has faltered. Like New England or New Orleans? Are we really ready to take on the best teams in the league this year? Minnesota, who's quietly, putting up numbers, winning football games. You cannot survive in this league without some sort of running game, and 6 inches per carry simply doesn't do it. I think it was Rawls finished. It was Rawls or Lacey. One of them was it McKissick? One of the running backs, one of the true running backs, ended the game with negative yardage on the day. I mean, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I caution all my fellow 12s, do not get too high on that win on Sunday. The reality of this current Seattle Seahawks team is, even up to this point, we still have only one quality win. And when I say quality win, okay, a quality win is, for me, one of two things. Achieving victory versus a equally formidable team or a better team. And I mean just getting the victory however you have to get it. That's a quality win. Or going up against a team that you are obviously better than and beating the brakes off of them. That's a quality win for me. And we haven't really done that. We've put up some decent point totals against the Colts and even against the Giants. But it took us longer than a half of a football game to even get going against these teams that one would have to believe would stand no chance. I can't bless those games, the outcome of those games, as quality wins. If we went in there and just kicked the doors down in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and just, left the Giants feeling really small, that, okay, I might call that quality. But the Giants are a bunch of nobody. The Giants have to be the saddest football team in the NFL right now. And we got two winless teams. We have the Browns and the Colts haven't won a game. The Browns and the 49ers have not won a game yet. But the Giants have to be the saddest team in football right now. They're one win and they're just completely demolished by injuries. A team that was picked by most to maybe go deep in the playoffs this year. With the players they picked up in the offseason, the Giants had high praises coming into this season. In August, the Giants were a lot of people's picks to surprise everyone around the league. They have one win going into week 9. They have to be the saddest team in football. It took us 3 quarters almost to actually get on board against them. The Colts game. We didn't play great we went into the half down to the Colts. I'm not giving those quality wins. The one quality win that we have is against the Rams. And the reason that's a quality win is because, number one, it's the Rams. We play the Rams tough and they play us tough every time. And we went into the Coliseum and beat the Rams, which never happens. We usually split the series. Both teams winning at home. So we did something that we don't very often do against a team that at the time was the best offense in football and a team that we know is formidable against us. Because game in and game out against the Rams, it's always going to be tough. And even that one, I said in my article, SeattleSportsUnion.com, if Cooper Kupp's arms were an inch long or inch longer, Seattle would have lost that game too. You remember the hopeful game-winning drive at the end of the game? Goff took his team right down the field and threw a strike to Cooper Kupp in the end zone, and it just slipped off of his outstretched hands. If Cooper Kupp's arms were an inch longer, I think he would only needed another inch of wingspan. He would have held onto that football. Seattle would have been, and we'd be 4-3 right now. And no one would really be talking about us. No one would be saying that we're the team to beat in the NFC. I'm looking for Seattle to come out and beat somebody, not just win a game. I'm looking for the Seahawks, for my Seahawks to come out and beat someone. That's what I need to see. Now, there's a possibility that we're going to get some, we should see some improvement on the offensive line with the signing of Dwayne Brown. And how about Jeremy Lane? Okay, so Jeremy Lane's been blah all season long. From what I understand, he's kind of been kind of stinky about him losing playing time to the rookie Shaquille Griffin. And then this guy, I almost called him a bum, but I'm going to save that. This guy gets traded to the Houston Texans and then goes and fails his physical. I don't know. I've never been a professional athlete before, but if you ask me, it's gotta be probably the biggest embarrassment as a professional football player. As a professional athlete, you are an elite athlete. You are supposed to be physically and even mentally more capable than the larger percentage of the rest of the world. If you are a professional athlete, you are one of the few on the whole planet who can do what you do if you're a professional athlete. There's only so many leagues out there. There's only so many professional leagues out there, and those professional leagues only have so many professional teams, and those professional teams only have so many professional players. So you represent a very small percentage of life on this planet that can do what you supposedly do. And you fail the physical? Guys that never even get on the field, guys that ride the bench don't fail their physical. Maybe it was because of his injury. I don't know. But if that's the case, then he should have never been on the field wearing blue and green. So here we are. We still have Jeremy Lane on the roster. So now that concerns me because with him on the roster, that means he's on the depth chart more than likely. I don't know that Pete and John would decide to deactivate him. Because he is still Jeremy Lane. He's been in our system for a number of years. If anybody knows it, he does. So I'd be surprised to learn that we deactivate him, which means he's on the depth chart, which means that he could see the field. And that kind of worries me. I like to hope that he's at least a good enough of a guy to not mail it in. You know, maybe he's waking up and saying like, wow, I almost got traded away from the only team that I've ever played for that has a shot at going to the Super Bowl. Maybe I should get my head out of my you-know-what. Maybe this will motivate Jeremy Lane. But I don't know how likely that is. So we ended up giving away an extra pick for Dwayne Brown. Great offensive tackle. We're going to play on the left side, which should, at the very least, help Russell Wilson out. Shore up the left side of that line and give Russell maybe just a couple more heartbeats to look downfield, complete some passes, and if we're lucky, maybe help us open up some holes in the running game for whoever they decide to give the ball to. I don't care who it is. I wouldn't mind seeing J.D. McKissick get the starting spot at running back. Turn this into a little more of a speed offense. We still want to stick with the power. They announced that Eddie Lacy's going to get the starting job, the starting nod, going into this week. So they still want to stick with the power, and I understand, but just for me, I'm ready to see something different. Even if it doesn't work, I'm ready to see something. I'm tired of seeing the same thing not work over and over again. Show me something different and then let that not work. It won't bother me as much. But we got Dwayne Brown. So hoping to see good things out of him. We came out of the game on Sunday, unfortunately, with a casualty, Earl Thomas, after playing the great game that he played. and just doing what Earl Thomas does, which is go 125% every single play. He was chasing down Hopkins on that wide receiver screen that he took to the house. And the reality of it is Earl Thomas wasn't going to catch him. No one was going to catch him. The dude was gone, but Earl Thomas doing what he does, always runs as fast as he can. And he strained his ham, strained the hammy. So Earl Thomas is out this week. And we've got McDougal in his spot. And I'm anxious to see what he can do. From what I understand, he was signed because, you know, I'm not all that familiar with McDougal, but we'll see what he's able to do. Hopefully he can, you know, do just enough, you know, to keep things from coming over the top, play center field as close to like Earl Thomas as he can, and just not let anything get opened up over the top on us. And hopefully Earl Thomas will be back the following week. So we got these Washington Redskins coming in. And we got another quarterback who's fearless. Kirk Cousins is not afraid of anybody. He is the kind of quarterback who will stand in the pocket and take the hit to deliver the pass. He showed that last week against Dallas. You know, taking the hit on a number of plays and delivering just unbelievable passes at the same time. Kirk Cousins can hurt you if you let him, and he's not afraid to take the hit. So if you're going to get to the quarterback, you have to get all the way to him and take him down or put your hands on him, because just getting in his face is not going to do much. Redskin team, I think was expected to be at a better place than they are right now, you know, earlier in the season. But they're going to come into this game under 500 at 3-4. Sitting at third place in the East. But their offense can put up points and put up yards. They're going to come in with throwing the ball for over 250 yards a game, running the ball for over 105 yards a game. So they seem to have balance, throwing and running the football. And, you know, Seattle's going to have their hands full, you know, trying to keep them under wraps. I think here you have to, you know, I'm not sure how you really go up against this balanced attack that the Redskins have. But it's going to involve us getting ahead early. Now, I made a statement last week that, and I guaranteed it, and it almost came back to bite me, and it worked, but it didn't work the way I planned it. But I said if the Seahawks score 14 points in the first half of any game the rest of the season, they're going to win it. Now, they went and scored 14 points in the first quarter of the game last week, and that wasn't really what I was going after. But I'm going to say it again, because I think that the Houston game is an outlier. If Seattle, the way we play, if we score 14 points in the first half, 14 points is all we need. 14 points in the first half, doesn't matter who we're playing. If we score 14 points in the first half, we're going to win the game. And I'm not even talking about going down or, you know, going up 14-0. We just have to score 14 points. If we get in the end zone twice in the first half, we will win the game. No team, dare I say it, nobody is going to succeed with any type of consistency against our defense trying to play from behind. It just doesn't work that way. When we can play from ahead, if we can pin the ears back of these defensive ends and linebackers when we blitz and go get the quarterback, force the quarterback to throw the ball quicker than he wants, cause an errant pass, our opportunistic defense will make a play. It'll be turnover city. But we have to score earlier. We can't keep waiting until the third quarter to start playing football. That would have been shown on Sunday, except for Deshaun Watson decided he was going to show off all day. So I'll say it again. And I will come back and put my foot in my mouth for everybody to listen to if I'm proven wrong. But I'm telling you now, if Seattle scores 14 points in the first half, we will win football games. So it's week 9. We're coming down. It's really getting into the playoff push here. Not much longer left in the season if you really think about it. Week 9, next is going to be week 10. And then you got 2 more months. And the playoffs are here. It's going to come quick. We're sitting nice right now at 5-2. We're sitting nice. But we cannot let off the gas. We cannot afford to lose a game. We really can't. Unless, of course, the Rams, decide that they're going to falter. The Rams so far are staying legit. I was very anxious to see what the Rams were going to do after we beat them, and they stay legit. So we have no reason to assume the Rams will not remain legit. So we can't lose. Winning the division has to be the goal. We cannot bank on a wild card berth. We got to win the division. As we already know, it's tough. If you have to go on the road to the playoffs, you're not going to make it unless you're the Giants or the Steelers. We know our Seahawks do not like playing on the road. We know that already. So we've got to get to the division. We've got to keep winning these games, and hopefully we got to beat the Rams for sure. So let's see what's going to happen with these Redskins. This is Rob English, your Socal. Let's try that again. This is Rob English, your Socal Seahawk. And again, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to catch the Seattle Sports Union post-game show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Find us on Facebook for the live link. Except for when we play at night on Thursday, Sunday, or Monday nights, the show is right after the game. I'm hoping to get some guests on, or we're hoping to get some guests on here. You folks, all my Seattle folks, probably familiar with Norbcam. We're going to see if we can contact Norbcam and get him on with us. And when we play the Eagles, there's a YouTube video maker, calls herself Philadelia. Her name is Delia. She's a huge Philadelphia Eagle fan. And we'd like to see if we can get her on the show with us to talk some objective football. About our games when we play the Eagles. Or our game when we play the Eagles. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting some guests on the show. So tune in, Seattle Sports Union. I'm Rob English. Thanks for listening. Go Hawks.